Well, today we finished constructing our pool table, and I am relatively happy with how this came out. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this is to do. All right, the glue on the legs is completely set now. It did take, the tube said it would take 24 hours to cure. I found it took longer than that. It took about 48 hours before it was really feeling like it had set up all the way, and I did have to add more glue to a couple of the legs. So I want to put another coat of the same brown paint. I think this is the same brown paint. Anyway, I'm going to put another coat of the brown paint now. There is some glue on the legs, and there's also, I probably have messed up the paint a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do, I've kind of given up on getting a wood grain on this. It just wasn't coming out, so I'm just going to make it brown. A lot of times that dark brown wood will be, not really show a lot of grain, so I'm okay with that. There's a piece of glue there. So I am going to turn the camera off. I'm going to coat the entire visible part of our pool table with the brown paint. And then once I have that painted, I am going to go locate something to use for our top to our pool table, and I will come back and we could work on that. All right, my brown paint has dried. And I am satisfied with how this looks. It's not the, initially, if you remember from part one, I was planning to try and create a wood grain. That didn't work out, but I think this still looks like that wood that they use in furniture that I was trying to replicate, even without a grain in it, simply because there are brush stroke marks. So this needs to be put to the side, and let's get out what I decided to use to create our faux felt top for our pool table. I'll be right back with my stuff. All right, as a refresher, I thought I would show, this is the piece that came in the pool table when I got it in the toy, and it's just a piece of cardboard that's got green stripes on it. And I debated what I wanted to use. I wanted to create the look of felt, but I didn't want to use fabric. Real felt would be out of scale, and besides that, I don't have any of the right color, especially not any thin enough to use. So I decided that the best option from what I have here is this watercolor paper. This is, let me see if I can see, it is 140 pound cold pressed surface watercolor paper. It's got just a bit of texture to it. And what I did was I measured the pool table and I measured this card. I cut out a rectangle that is the same size as this card minus the tabs and the cutouts. I'm going to do the cutouts for the holes in the top of the table after it's painted, just before I get ready to put it on. So I'm going to put that, I've got tape here, put this on the tape so that it will stay put. I also cut 3 strips of cardstock the length of the pages. This paper is 9 by 12. So I have 3 strips of the same paper that are 1/4 inch wide by 12 inches long. And I'm going to put them on my tape. This will be, because on a real pool table, now what I know about pool tables, you could write on the head of a pin. I've had to look this up every step of the way online, because I think I've played pool twice in my entire life. And I wasn't really paying attention to what the pool table looked like. So usually the felt comes up on the inside edges around the sides. So that's what these 1/4 inch strips are for, and then this is our piece for the top. Because I might need to adjust the size of this after I get these glued in place, that's why, part of why I didn't cut out the holes in the corners. I want to wait and put those in once I know exactly how big this is going to be. So I went back and forth with myself about what color I wanted to use. And I decided to just go with this green. This happens to be Folk Art Multi-Surface in bright green. It's kind of a stereotype green pool table felt color. So I am going to paint these pieces that I've cut. I'm going to get a good coat of green paint on them, and once they are completely painted, I'm happy with the color. It may need 2 coats, but once it's ready, it's dry all the way, because I want this to dry probably overnight before I put it on. Then we'll come back and we will put this all onto our pool table. So I'll see you when I'm ready to assemble this. All right, I've got my green paint has all dried. I've got this piece I'm putting off to the side for right now. We won't need that until later. The 3 of these, I cut 4 pieces that were about 4 inches long or so. They aren't exactly, but they're close. And they are going to go in these spots here, right there. I'm going to use E6000. I was not very happy with that other glue I used the other day, so I dug out my E6000, and I'm going to use a toothpick. And yeah, you can see this. I'm going to spread some of this glue on this space, this flat vertical edge around the piece here. And this is going to be kind of slow because I can only find 2 of my 4 Dollar Tree big clamps. So I may have to, if I can't find the other 2, I may have to run over to Dollar Tree. Which one did I just do? That's the one I just did. I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to kind of center it. My idea is I want some end. I'm going to then run it around the corner and take it to where this trim piece here is. So I'm going to, at least for a little bit, whoops, I think, yeah, I'm going to clamp this for a while. It won't have to be clamped for a long time, just long enough for that to really get into that paper, because that's porous. And I'll get the other 3 of these on off camera over the next couple of hours. And then once that is set up enough that I feel comfortable moving this around, I'll come back and we'll put this piece in. So I'll be back in a bit. Well, I did discover really quickly that I didn't actually need to have my clamps. The E6000 will hold the paper against where I want it to be really well without just holding it just for a few seconds. Now I went through and I trimmed all my strips so that they are fairly even with these trim strips, I guess you'd call them, the little pieces on the top of the rim there. So now they come right to there. So I'm going to go through, again, I'll just do one on camera, and I'm going to, we'll see how this stays. Put some glue in here. And a toothpick is really good to get it in there because you can really get in where you want it to be. And it stays in place really well. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to do all of these ends, and then I'm going to do the 2 ends here. I'll just cut them oversized, get them glued to the flat, trim them when that's set up, and get them glued so that that's all ready to go. And when I come back, we'll put the piece of cardstock here. All right, so I did have to fuss with those areas a little bit, but I got it all glued down and it's set up enough. So now I've kind of played with this first corner. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave that just the way it is. I thought about making a rounded opening at each spot, but I decided not to. I decided to just make a little tick mark where it meets, because I just kind of want this to kind of, those holes to kind of disappear. Yeah. Put the corners off fairly even. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I did trim just the skinniest, oops, I put that in quite right, just the skinniest little sliver off one long edge of this from what I had it before. Now off camera, I'm going to glue this onto here off camera because it's going to take some fussing. I'm going to cover all of these areas with the E6000, and then I'm going to go around the edges of this. And I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to put something on it to hold it down. see what I've got, and then I'll let that set up. When that's set up, I'll come back and we'll put some clear finish on both the green faux felt and the pool table frame. So I'll be back when this is in. All right, my E6000 has dried pretty well. So I am going to put a coat of matte Mod Podge. I picked up some matte the other day. Dollar Tree does have matte, and I think the other one was satin at my Dollar Tree for these little containers, but that's fine. At least I've got matte now. Oops, I got something there. So I am going to coat just the green paper, not up on the plastic. If it gets up on the plastic, that's okay. But I want to coat the whole part that is green. And then once this is dry, I'm just going to squirt a little more on here. Once this dries so that I'm not disturbing it, then we'll come back and we'll put a coat of satin finish over the parts that we painted with the brown paint. So I'm going to go ahead and get this on and let it dry, and then I'll come back. I'll see you then. Now that the matte Mod Podge is pretty much dry, I'm going to go in with satin Mod Podge, and I'm going to go right up to the edge like this, all the way around first, trying to not do what I just did and get it down into there. I want this to stay on the brown parts, and I'm not going to go down in there. I'm going to leave that just the way it is. But I am going to give all the parts that we've painted brown, in other words, this top and the legs, all a good coat, even not too heavy, but a nice thorough coat of, I've got gunk on there. I'm gonna have to get that off. A good even coat of satin Mod Podge. I'll probably do the top, wrap my brush up, and then come back and do the legs once this is dry. That way I always have a place to hold on to. When this is dry, we'll come back and we'll see how the pool table looks. All right, this is now completely dry, and I like how it turned out. I think it's really, really cute. There are a few things I would probably change if I was doing this again, and I'll talk about those on the blog post. But for the first time working with one of these, and especially making something that I really don't know a lot about, because I think I said earlier, by the way, I filmed this over a period of several days, so I think I said earlier, I really don't know anything about playing pool. I have played pool twice in my life, and I wasn't any good at it. So, but I think this turned out really cute, really fun, and if you take your time and you can learn from my mistakes, I'll be talking a little bit on the blog post about things I think I would change if I was going to do this again. One of the things would be to figure out how to get this felt in further into these holes, where the holes are. But overall, I'm very happy with this project. I think it's really cute, and to think that we started with a toy from the dollar store that cost $1.25, and we created something that will go into a man cave, or even like a bar or a pool hall room box. This would be a really fun project. So be sure and check the blog post. There'll be photos. Like I said, I'll try and go over some of the things I would do differently next time. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, leave me a comment. What kinds of things would you like to see? What are the projects you're working on that you're trying to find items for? Let me know and we'll see what we can do. If you enjoy my content and you haven't subscribed, be sure and hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.